Are public ballots the only way to ensure valid elections are maintained? If not, what steps would you take to ensure that elections are valid and not subject to fraud from foreign or domestic manipulation?
Yeah, election security is a huge thing right now, isn't it? Why are we only one of the few states that don't have voter ID in our state? It's ridiculous. That has to happen. That has to go on the ballot. I know there are signatures. Hopefully there are signature papers here tonight. Please sign it. Get it on the ballot. We need voter ID. In addition to voter ID, we need to keep the integrity of our elections by watching those machines. We also have to watch, and we maybe need to look at how our state deals with the absentee ballots or the mail-in ballots. And I understand that it's here to stay, gives people a little easier way. Maybe they want to vote early. You need to put some regulations on that. In fact, my sister actually is in the room. She's on city council in Omaha. During her primary in May, we were watching the results, and we found out that on Monday night at 8 p.m., between Monday night at 8 p.m. and Tuesday night at 8 p.m. before the ballots closed, somehow there was a 20,000 ballot drop among the ballots in Omaha. Really? And nobody saw a line of cars? Because if you were just taking your own ballot, or you can take somebody for your family member, you would think for 20,000 there would be a line of cars. So where did they come from? No one could give us that answer. And there's no cameras on the ballot boxes. We need to secure those ballot boxes. We need to really look at buttoning that up. I would really love to go back to in-person voting, except for times where, you have a college student or you're away in the military. And really, that's going to keep our elections the most secure, but we also have to watch our election data and how those ballots are counted, and making sure that, one, every ballot is counted and it's counted for the correct person.
Thank you. Mr. Connolly, are public ballots the only way to ensure valid elections are maintained? And if not, what steps would you take to ensure that elections are valid and not subject to fraud from foreign or domestic manipulation?
And I only have 2 minutes for this, and I still am calling Senator Biden. Wow, we have a rat's nest. We were just up, I and several other individuals were in Omaha listening to the Secretary of State speak. And he's a figurehead. He doesn't know a lot of the problems that we have here. We have the ESS machines. I believe they're manufactured in China. I used to work in military intelligence, and I can tell you the Chinese always build in a back door. Supposedly, some people have stated that they cannot be hooked to the internet, and other people have stated that they have. I'm still trying to dig into that with the people who handle that at a lower level. As far as the ballot drop-off boxes, why would you do that? I could take a ballot, run down, get thousands of them printed, hire a bunch of guys, fill them out, and I could throw 20,000 extra votes in just like that by myself as an individual. They're so easy to cheat with those things. Why would we ever have a drop-off box? And yes, when you're done, don't forget to go over there and sign the initiative for the voter IDs. But we have all kinds of other problems too. The election machines, the ESS machines, they have a company called CrowdStrike. Those are the ones that run the security on them to make sure they're secure. The same company that was working with the Democrats trying to accuse the Russians of hacking their systems and all this stuff, basically blaming Trump for everything, saying he was colluding with the Russians, and then the Russians hacked the Democratic Party servers. That was CrowdStrike. Those are the same people who are supposed to be running security on our elections right now. That is insanity. Boy, I would really love to have all that extra time. Can we call them up? I think they're at the veterans meeting. I don't know why they're up there. I'm the jarhead. I'm the Marine. I'm not up there at the meeting. They should be down here with us. But no, there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. We need to get rid of the drop-off boxes. We need to have just a simple scanning thing that will just give us straight numbers, something that cannot be programmed. Braylon could probably program them to throw in a funky algorithm to get us some bogus numbers on that. I'm sorry, this is one of my things that I could go on for a couple hours. I will shut up now.
That's all right. We like passion. All right, Senator Lindstrom, same question to you, sir. Would you like me to repeat it?
So voter ID is the first step that we can do to ensure that we have the free and fair elections. In Nebraska, I've had a conversation with Secretary Evan, and I've had a conversation, in my case, with Brian Cruz. This really is somewhat of a local issue when you're starting to deal with the vastness of Nebraskan ballots, because what's right for Douglas County might not be right for Cherry County. And there are certain counties within the state of Nebraska that need to do absentee ballots just by the sheer distance that they have. Now, there are a couple of steps that you can take, and again, we're dealing with that right now. In the legislature, we have a bill that deals with voter ID. I suspect that voter ID will be on the ballot this next year. Another thing that we can do is speed up the time frame in which those absentee ballots are collected and go out. To me, that is where we start to ensure it. Whether or not something happened in 2020, this last election cycle, I've had those conversations. They assured me that we had free and fair elections in Nebraska, but that doesn't mean that we can't stay diligent as citizens to make sure that we have integrity in our election process. And to me, as people, as the second house, and as we go forward, voter ID is one of the main things that we can do to protect those rights as citizens.
Still got a little bit of time. You want to add anything? I said you still got a little bit of time. You want to add anything? No? You good? All right. Don't want to take anything from you. Okay. Mr. Ridenour, are public ballots the only way to ensure valid elections are maintained? If not, what steps would you take to ensure that elections are valid and not subject to fraud from foreign or domestic manipulation?
All right, so first and foremost, I'm a firm believer that there was issues in our 2020 national election. There was proven facts that there were issues in other states. I, too, have had a one-on-one meeting with Secretary of State Bob Evnen where he assured me he did not believe that there was any issue here in the state of Nebraska. Okay, fine. However, though, like I mentioned before, government needs to be proactive, not reactive. As an individual who understands technology, this is right up my wheelhouse. I know how these systems work, okay? Secretary of State Bob Evnen has assured me that these machines are not potentially accessible to the internet. I'm not calling Secretary of State Bob Evnen a liar, but there is information that is being transmitted over the internet. I know how this works. Okay, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of vulnerabilities in technology. If you remember earlier tonight, I mentioned we need to understand, and I understand, when not to use technology. I believe in paper ballots. Yes, it may be a little bit more work, right? We need paper ballots that not only we need to take other measures to secure them, whether that be watermarks, right? Serial numbers. We need to make it hard, just like money. How difficult it is to counterfeit money. We need to make it difficult. We have the technology, we have the ability to make it very hard to counterfeit ballots. Why haven't we done this? There are two ways we can affect change in this country. One with a ballot and one with our firearm. Now, I would prefer to continue to use the ballot as long as possible, and I feel that you probably would agree with me. We need to secure this. This is a top priority, right? I've talked to individuals who worked at ES&S, who've been there for years, who know how this works. I've worked in government, I've worked in healthcare. I know the stringent security measures that need to be taken. Can backdoors be done? Yes. We need more. We need supervision. We need overwatch. An issue with these polling places is that there's no tips and tricks. We have new people every single election. How do we calibrate these machines? Right? Where's the handbook? Where's the facts? The frequently asked questions. Where's all this? No accountability. Lastly, I'm an absolute proponent for voter ID. Mail-in ballots need to stop unless requested by the individual, and they need to show proof of verification of address and identification. Thank you.